What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be making a video of painting my brake calipers. I finally got all the stuff that I needed to do it with like the jack and all the stands and the paint and the gloves and all that stuff. And I'm just going to make a quick video. I've been doing some research on how to do it myself. This might not be the best way to get your brake calipers painted, but I thought I'd try. It's a very effective way of doing it. You know, there are some other ways like powder coating things is probably better heat resistant as well, but it costs a lot more money. I'd probably have to take it to a shop to do it done well. This way that I'm doing it, which is with just spray paint, you can just do it at home. You know, I can just lift my car up, take the wheels off. It does require probably more effort on my part, just time, but you know, it's a free Saturday for me, so I'm just gonna enjoy myself and just try to do this step by step. I'm gonna show you all the items that I picked up to be able to do this project, and then I'll show you kind of step by step what I'm doing, so you could try it too at home. So probably one of the most important things that you're going to need is definitely a jack to lift your car up. Along with that comes with some stands, so that you can kind of lift the car up with the jack and then lower the car onto some stands. That way it's not just the jack that's holding the car up. You're also going to need some equipment to get the little Torx off the wheel. So I have here a nice long breaker bar. I definitely recommend getting one so you have extra leverage when you're trying to twist those little locks. Now for my car specifically, it has a specific wheel lock that came with it. So make sure you have that, because that's a very kind of more current thing. It used to not be as prominent, but now it's very popular to have those wheel locks, extra form of security on your wheels. This is a torque wrench, so when I'm ready to put the wheels back on, this is going to help me get the right torque onto the locks on the wheel so that the wheels don't fall off. I got some gloves there, some tape, some trash bags, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the trash bags, I'm going to wrap kind of the inside of the wheelbase with trash bags so that none of the paint gets anywhere besides the caliper. There's my paint. I put some primer, some red paint. I got some masks there for the paint just in case, I don't want to inhale some bad toxins. I got some brake cleaner there because we're going to clean the brakes first before we paint it. I got some nice metal brushes so we can actually clean the brake caliper. This is just a bag of rags so I can use to wipe down stuff. And then lastly, most importantly, is just remember to stay hydrated so that you don't fall apart here, especially coming into the sun. So one of the first things that you want to do probably is to loosen your wheel locks first. That way when you lift your car up, the locks are already loose. So you don't, once you lift the car up, it's going to be hard to turn it because the wheel is just going to spin. So that's a little trick there for you. Just make sure you loosen the locks before you lift the car up. That way when you do lift it, it's already a little loose. It'll take you less effort to undo. Next, what you want to do is you want to look underneath your car for a space for the jack to go in the stands. You want to make sure you look for a good spot, like part of the frame, probably not plastic, because the weight of the car is going to go on that. So you want to find a nice sturdy spot for the forks of the stands and the jack. That way you don't damage anything underneath your car, and that way when you lower the car, it's going to be nice, safe, and snug. If you guys have never used a jack, this is pretty standard jack. It comes with this little piece here. You kind of put it in this little hole. There you go. You turn it to make sure you lock it, and importantly, the jack isn't going to lift up until what's called the release valve is tightened, which on this jack is going to be here. Usually it's something around here where the lever is. It's this little thing here. You don't make sure you tighten it clockwise until it's tight, and then that way when you start pumping, the jack will actually lift up. Otherwise, it will not lift. You'll just be pumping for hours, and it'll just sit. As you can see, guys, I put there, found a nice piece of the metal frame. I put the jack right underneath there, and I'm just going to start to pump my jack here, and you will see slowly but surely. It's kind of hard to see on the video, but it is lifting car little by little. And what I'll do is I'll take one of the stands and I'll put it underneath there eventually so I can get a nice level of raise. Guys, and after you get the jack up, there's the stand. You can see I'm putting there, nice little piece of the frame there. This is the piece that I use to kind of lift the car up. Now all that's left, you can see the wheels off the ground, is to basically do the other side. All right, guys, and when you're done with both sides, the car should be fully lifted up. You can see the wheels there. You can see there's plenty of space. Now what I'm going to do is, a good rule of thumb is when I take, when I unscrew the stuff and take it off, I'm going to put the wheel underneath in case for whatever reason it falls. There's kind of a fail-safe that it's going to land on the tire and the wheel, when I'd rather have it land on that than on my hand or on equipment or create any other kind of disaster. But there's the car lifted. All we got to do now is start turning to get these off. remove the wheel, and then get prepped for paint. All right, guys, and the next step is just as easy as taking here my breaker bar, putting it in. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. We're just gonna twist until, oh, there it goes, and we're just gonna pretty much just unscrew it until, now I already loosened these, so you know the wheel moves, but because I loosened them, I can kind of do it by hand. And trust me, it's easier to do it this way than if you were to lift the car first and then untighten it, because the wheel moves. So you'd have to hold the wheel, something like this, and then use torque to get these off. And trust me, that's a hassle. All right, guys, you can see here I got all the little locks off. You can see there's a wheel without them. Here's kind of how you need to do it for the wheel lock specifically. So you need your tool, your breaker bar. Then for me, it's a 3/4 inch socket, and then you have the specific wheel lock that the dealer would have given you specific to your wheel lock, and then you connect that to there, and then you connect this here, and then you unscrew it, and there you have it, guys. So here's the whole brake caliper, or the rotor with the caliper. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some trash bags, and we're basically going to line this whole thing up so no paint gets anywhere. Then we're going to put, you know, trash bag over here. We're going to put some tape over it, and then you can remove the brake caliper to paint it, which might be the better way to do it. But for me, I think I'll just be able to tape everything up and put trash bag over it, and this will be an easier way for me to paint it. I'm also going to take the steering wheel and turn it so I can have better access to this and paint it. And let's just get set up for paint. Here's a little trick, guys. So what I did is I didn't turn on the car, but I turned it on enough where the wheels can turn, and I turned. You can see the kind of the tire, the wheels turned a little bit out, and this is so it makes it easier for me to kind of put all the stuff around it, and it gives me more space to paint the actual caliper. All right, guys, well, I'm not a professional or anything, but this is pretty much as close as I can get it. Maybe a couple more pieces of tape there on the little piece of metal there, so it doesn't get paint on it, but really those are just the brake pads themselves, so I'm not too worried about that. The tape job I know is probably really rough, but we'll see how this goes. All right, guys, now we're going to take some brake cleaner and apply it to the brake. Make sure you shake the can really well. You know, and I have my metal brush here, so we're just going to apply some on there and start kind of cleaning the brake. I shook the can pretty well, and I'm just going to basically apply it to the areas that I think. I put the plastic bag underneath, so then I can start to pretty much scrape it with this metal wire here. Just try to get as clean as you can. My brakes are pretty new, so they don't really need that much cleaning, but I do know that right here is kind of dirty. You can kind of see there's a little bit of brown spots in there, so I'm gonna make sure I clean it so that way when I put the primer on and the paint, it'll stick nice and clean. Guys, now we're just gonna take this primer that I got here, this automotive primer. We're gonna layer it on basically. So from afar first, we're gonna just try to put some, just a very light coloring first, and okay, so that's it. So then now we're going to just wait a couple minutes for it to dry, and then we'll go in with a second. Okay, guys, it's been about 5 minutes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to apply a thicker that's pretty good on there. Alright, guys, the primer's been on there for about 5 to 10. I did 2 coats, and now we're just going to do the very first coat, probably one of 3 of the red, and we're just going to lightly start just on there, and it's already looking so good. I'm just gonna get this inside parts in here. And come around this way. so that just gets a nice first coat. Already looking nice and mean. Nice. You can see with the sun it really pops, which is my intention. So now we're just gonna give it a little bit to. All right, guys. Put another 5 to 10, and we're ready to put on the second coat, which should be a little bit heavier. Definitely, we want to basically get all the areas as much as we can. Now remember, I'm not a professional painter or anything. I'm just a guy who likes to do stuff on his own, and I'm okay if things don't come out exactly perfect. You know, and all this took was just a Saturday, my time. If I really need to have it redone or repainted, I can definitely do so. Yeah. So that's the second coat there. I'll wait another 5 to 10 to have it dry, and then we'll put on the final coat. It's already looking really nice, but now it's time to put the third and final layer coat of this, and we're gonna just be as generous with this as possible. And this is where you want to try to get all the nooks and crannies, you know, going up and in here. Make sure you're getting all the areas. Maybe back there a little bit. You can see that I missed a little bit. Switch hands. All right. That is looking really, really good. Not gonna lie. Okay, I think I'll do that. I'm gonna let it dry off, and I'm gonna see how it looks. Maybe I'll add one more coat, maybe I won't. This is already the third coat. I think we're gonna be okay. All right, guys, this is what it pretty much looks like, the final product. It looks pretty darn good. You can definitely tell that it's definitely cherry red. I tried to do as many coats. I did 3 coats. I tried to cover with tape like in here, and then down here you can see, and I wrapped with tape up there so nothing kind of gets covered in the paint. I think I might do one more coat just to make sure that it's nice and sealed, that there's no air bubbles or anything like that, and I think 4 coats will be just about enough. Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, got the second wheel all set up here. Here is pretty much what I got taped off. I got the rotor taped off. These are just the pads here. I got this area up here kind of covered so it doesn't get into where the actual rotor is. Same with over here, and then down there. I taped off, you know, these little nuts here just to make sure that nothing is held. And then when I prime and paint, hopefully it only gets on the brake caliper and just the pads. So hopefully that's it. We're ready to paint. I'm going to put the primer on first, and then we'll put the paint on, and we should be almost done. Hey guys, so it took longer than I thought it would because it was just me. I got the 2 front ones on. I'm going to show you how to put the lug nuts back on. I use a torque wrench, and what that basically does is it puts the lugs back on at the right torque spec, which your manual will show. For this SI, it's 80 square feet, pound square feet. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You can see, guys, here's my torque wrench. I use a Tecton. You can see the little numbers there. You can see that I spec'd it to 80. Oh, it's this side. 80 pound-feet, and you can see the little 0 there is in the middle. That means it's spec'd to 80 pounds. And now this is good to kind of turn the lug nut. So I'm just going to basically put it on and turn it, and what you'll hear is a little click of sound. So if you give me a chance here, so we're just going to put it in, and then we're going to turn it. And you heard that little click there, right? You hear it? That little click means that it's hit the torque spec. Now for me it's 80 pounds. For you it might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, just depends on your car. So you're basically going to put them all on that torque spec. And then, okay, got 2 more. This one down here, okay. Awesome. And then for the last one, we need the special key to go on. So we're gonna put it on first, and then we're gonna put on torque wrench, and we're gonna turn. Okay, there. So those clicks mean that it's spec'd, but just to be safe, I'm gonna go through all of them again to make sure. And I wouldn't want this falling off while I'm driving. Okay. And last but not least, oh, there it is. Okay. And that is how you do it. Hey guys, so I waited until the next day so I can show you what the brakes look under sunlight. They actually turned out really well for what I wanted, at least. Again, it's not professionally done or anything, so it probably doesn't look as good as it could be. But for just the guy just doing it on a Saturday, it looks pretty darn good. And I think it makes the wheels really pop. I'm really happy with it, and I'm just excited to kind of drive around and just kind of make sure the paint holds up. Maybe I'll have to do some touch-ups here and there, but for now, let's take a look and see how it looks. Now my wheels are dirty, but as you can see, the actual brake caliper with the red, it looks really, really, really nice. Here's the side with a little bit more sunlight coming in. Let's take a look at the other side of the front. And as you can see, it really makes the wheel pop. So just bear in mind, I did it myself. Probably, there's a little bit of piece of red that's missing there kind of at the top. But for what I did, I think it looks really, really good. Let me know what you guys think. So yeah, there you go. Those are painting your brake calipers. There's better ways to do it, but I really enjoyed kind of doing it myself, and that's just kind of the guy that I am. I have other plans for this car for right now. That's going to be it for maybe cosmetic stuff. I'm not going to put any like front slip or front lips or anything, or any side skirts or anything like that. I think the next kinds of moves that I'm going to do on the car is maybe add like an air intake or maybe some like exhaust or something like that to change how the sound feels. But for right now, I'm really happy the way the car looks, and I'm just excited to drive around.